Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presents her maiden budget in Parliament, sticks to the government's reform narrative and aims to aid crucial sectors like agriculture, health, education and infrastructure. Agriculture sees the biggest boost in allocation in this budget, more than 27 lakh rupees, a 13.4% increase over the previous estimates. After 27 years in prison, Nalini, convicted in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, is granted a month-long parole by the Madras High Court. More trouble for the Congress party. Two Gujarat MLAs, Alpesh Thakur and Dhaval Singh Zala, resigned from the assembly. They allegedly voted against the Congress in the by-polls for the Rajya Sabha. Delhi court frames charges against Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia and Somnath Bharti. These Aam Aadmi Party leaders are accused of violating prohibitory orders and obstructing public servants in 2014. Hello and welcome to India Watch. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay and this is a show where we bring you the biggest headlines from India. And today's big story is the Union Budget. A speech that lasted for more than 2 hours, covered a whole host of issues, has been described as balanced by most observers. The opposition says it was insipid. No bold moves there. We say it's a work-in-progress budget. The focus has been on fine-tuning and scaling up of old projects, and some new ideas have also been floated. We'll discuss all of that and also bring you reactions. But first, let's bring you the highlights. The first budget of the second Modi government. Nirmala Sitharaman has become the first full-time woman finance minister to present the budget of India. Over the course of the next few minutes, we'll tell you everything that you need to know about this year's budget. There are two big ideas that are driving this budget. First, the finance minister said that India will become a $3 trillion economy by next year. The second big idea is to kickstart domestic and foreign investment.
Vision for the decade. Our economy was at approximately $1.85 trillion when we formed the government in 2014. Within 5 years, it has reached $2.7 trillion. Hence, it is well within our capacity to reach the $5 trillion in the next few years.
This is not a populist budget, but there are several important announcements. First, what is in it for the common man? No major changes in the income tax slabs, but there is good news for first-time home buyers. Exemptions on interest on home loans have been increased, but this is limited to houses valued up to 45 lakh rupees. The exemption has been hiked to 3.5 lakhs now. Home buyers will now have a benefit of around 7 lakhs over a loan period of 15 years. The slowdown in economy has been a major concern and this budget attempts to address it. For starters, corporate taxes for small companies have been reduced to 25% and this will give them more room to hire more people. Companies with an annual turnover of up to 400 crores will be eligible for this. Earlier, they were paying 30% corporate tax. For the ailing public sector banks, the government has a new recapitalization plan. There is a major reduction in non-performing assets. The government will still infuse 70,000 crores into public sector banks.
Public sector banks are now proposed to be further provided 70,000 crores of rupees capital to boost credit for a strong impetus to the economy.
Now, a major pain point for startups has been eased. Angel tax has been a major concern for these entrepreneurs, and this tax is on the funding they receive from investors. The government has eased some regulations. Now, startups will not be subjected to any scrutiny on valuation. Also, funds raised by startups will not need scrutiny by the Income Tax Department.
To resolve the so-called angel tax issue, the startups and their investors who file requisite declarations and provide information in their returns will not be subjected to any kind of scrutiny in respect of valuation of share premiums. With this, the funds raised by startups will not require any kind of scrutiny from the Income Tax Department.
Some significant changes have also been made in the tax structure for the rich. A surcharge has been introduced for the super rich. This is for those people who earn more than 2 crore rupees every year. Now, there are some sector-specific announcements as well. On the agricultural front, special emphasis has been given on zero-budget farming. This is a form of natural farming that is self-sustainable and is done with minimum external intervention. A major infrastructure push has been part of this budget. The government is planning to restructure the National Highways programming. The attempt is to create a highway grid for better connectivity. The finance minister also said that the government plans to use rivers for cargo transportation. 50 lakh crores have been set aside for railway infrastructure. The government will promote public-private partnership projects to improve railway services.
It is estimated that railway infrastructure would need an investment of 50 lakh crores between 2018 to 2030. Given that the capital expenditure outlays of railways are around 1.5 to 1.6 lakh crores per annum, completing even all sanctioned projects would take decades. It is therefore proposed to use public-private partnership to unleash faster development and completion of tracks, rolling stock manufacturing, and also delivery of passenger freight services. To take connectivity infrastructure to the next level,
the government still remains bullish about digital payments, and to increase digital transactions, a tax on cash withdrawals of more than 1 crore has been introduced. It is a move to promote digital payments in the corporate sector. Small traders have some reason to cheer as well. They will now be entitled to a pension.
Encouraged by the overwhelming response, the Government of India has decided to extend the pension benefit to about 3 crore retail traders and shopkeepers whose annual turnover is less than 1.5 crores.
Prime Minister Modi congratulated the Finance Minister on her first budget. He said that this is a budget for new India. It will prove to be prosperous for the economy.
ये बजट आशा, विश्वास और आकांक्षा का बजट है। ये बजट 21वीं सदी के भारत की अपेक्षाओं को पूरा करने और न्यू इंडिया के निर्माण में एक अहम कड़ी साबित होगा। ये बजट वर्ष 2022 यानी आजादी के 75 वर्ष से जुड़े संकल्पों को पूरा करने में देश का मार्ग निर्धारण करेगा।
So those are the key areas of focus in this budget. But a union budget is much more than a simple document of allocations to specific areas. It's also about setting the tone, bringing in new ideas which are needed to steer the economy forward. In this regard, this budget has a lot of new ideas. Let's look at some of the innovative plans announced by the Finance Minister today.
India has emerged as a major space power. Time has come to harness this ability commercially. A public sector enterprise, namely New Space India Limited, NSIL, the company will spearhead commercialization of various space products, including production of launch vehicles, transfer of technologies.
She's announced the incorporation of a company called New Space India Limited. This will be a private sector firm, a commercial arm of ISRO. It will help ISRO make money from its launch vehicle. It will focus on production and marketing of space-based products and services. And the timing of this announcement is significant. India is on its way to becoming a space superpower. In 10 days from now, ISRO will launch India's second lunar mission, the Chandrayaan-2. A few months ago, the anti-satellite weapon was also successfully tested. Now, this announcement will give India's space program a major boost. Next on our list is the setting up of a social stock exchange.
It is time to take our capital markets closer to the masses and meet various social welfare objectives related to inclusive growth and financial inclusion. I propose to initiate steps towards creating an electronic fundraising platform a social stock exchange under the regulatory ambit of Securities and Exchange Board of India, the SEBI, for listing social enterprises and voluntary organizations.
Now, what would a social stock exchange do? It will give organizations working for social welfare a new avenue to raise funds. Such organizations will be listed in the exchange just as companies are listed in the stock market. There are many investors who intend to contribute to social welfare, and this stock exchange will make it easy for them to support organizations. More importantly, it will also bring transparency into their functioning because it will be regulated by market watchdog SEBI. Now, this is something new for India. Countries like Canada, the United Kingdom, Singapore, South Africa and Brazil have had social exchanges, social stock exchanges in the past. The finance minister also outlined the One Nation, One Grid initiative to provide affordable power to all states. The government will also take up the much-needed power tariff reforms soon.
We will build on the successful model in ensuring power connectivity, One Nation, One Grid, that has ensured power availability to states at affordable rates. I propose to make available a blueprint this year for developing gas grids, water grids, highways and regional airports.
Normally, a budget is a technical document with emphasis on the three major sectors in the economy. Issues such as diplomacy, issues such as harnessing the soft power of India get overlooked. But Nirmala Sitharaman broke away from convention to focus on these areas too.
India's soft power is appreciated in so many different ways. Some simple examples, sir. In the last 3 years, on the International Yoga Day, yoga has been practiced in large numbers in 192 countries around the world. Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Janto Tene Kahiye, was sung by the respective lead artists from over 40 countries. The annual Bharat Ko Jano quiz competition is sought after as an event to participate by not only NRIs, non-resident Indians, but also several foreigners themselves.
The government will open embassies in countries where India does not have a resident diplomatic mission so far. Remember, in March, the government approved the opening of 18 new diplomatic missions in Africa. Now, the finance minister has taken that to the next level.
To give further impetus to India's growing influence and leadership in the international community, government decided to open Indian embassies and high commissions abroad in countries where India does not have a resident diplomatic mission as yet. This will not only increase the footprint of India's overseas presence, but also enable us to provide better and more accessible public services, especially to the local Indian communities in these countries.
Now, one of the major ideas that came out of this budget is the commitment to protect the health of India's small and medium-scale industries. The budget makes it easier for MSMEs to access credit. They can get loans up to 1 crore rupees within 59 minutes, that's less than an hour, through a dedicated online portal.
For ease of access to credit for MSMEs, government has introduced providing of loans up to 1 crore rupees for MSMEs within 59 minutes through a dedicated online portal. Under the interest subvention scheme for MSMEs, 350 crores of rupees has been allocated for the year 2019-20 for 2% interest subvention for all GST registered MSMEs on fresh or on incremental loans.
Now, lack of access to credit takes a heavy toll on such industries. This one decision will address that. The decision shows the government's intent to protect the sector, which provides a large number of jobs to the poor. The government also announced a host of measures to revive the rural economy. The focus is on Gaon, Garib and Kisan, the village, the farmer and the poor.
That every single rural family, except those who are unwilling to take the connection, except, Speaker sir, it's important to understand, except those who are unwilling to take the connection will have an electricity and a clean cooking facility.
Besides these, there were several unique and significant announcements for many sectors, be it the electric vehicle push or the importance given to improve India's startup culture. This budget is one of many firsts. It's always hard to do full justice to a budget after the interim budget has been presented. Nirmala Sitharaman has not only supplemented the interim budget of Piyush Goyal but also widened its range. It was a first budget speech today, and there were quite a few quotable quotes. From poetry to life principles, there was something for everyone. We picked up the best moments for you.
With determined human efforts, the task will surely be completed. It is well within our capacity to reach the $5 trillion in the next few years, when the country and her people's hearts are filled with Asha, Vishwas and Akanksha. That is, when the hearts are filled with hope, trust and aspirations. We, in 5 years, in just 5 years, added $1 trillion. The Indian economy will grow to become a $3 trillion economy in the current year itself. I propose to initiate steps towards creating an electronic fundraising platform, a social stock exchange. The government will examine suggestions of further opening up of FDI in aviation, in media, animation, ABGC, and insurance sectors, Nari to Narayani. I propose to expand the Women SHG Interest Subvention Program to all districts in India. For an elephant, just a few mounds of rice cooked from paddy which is taken from a small piece of land will be sufficient. But what if the elephant itself enters into the field and starts eating? It would eat far lesser than what it will trample. I hope the meaning is clear. Yakin ho to koi rasta nikalta hai, हवा की ओट भी लेकर चराग जलता है.
Good effort there. Perhaps the most important aspect to look out for is the issue of taxes. That's true for any budget. Nirmala Sitharaman mentioned the word tax 176 times in her maiden budget. What changes does she propose for the taxpayers of India?
Let me recall, sir, and reiterate this government's effort over the past 5 years to alleviate the tax burden on small and medium income earners. This includes self-employed as well as small traders, salary earners, and senior citizens. Only when their annual taxable income exceeds 5 lakhs, only when their annual taxable income exceeds 5 lakhs, they are required to pay any income tax.
Now, the burden on the taxpayer has significantly come down under the Modi government. Right after the 2014 election, former Finance Minister Arun Jaitley raised the personal income tax exemption limit to 2.5 lakh rupees from 2 lakh rupees. The tax rates for the middle class, those earning between 2.5 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees, was brought down in 2017, and in the interim budget earlier this year, the overall exemption limit was raised to 5 lakh rupees. Now, in terms of corporate taxes, the government has continued its phased reduction. Before the budget, if a company had a turnover of less than 250 crore rupees annually, then the corporate tax rate was 25%. That threshold has been raised. So companies with a turnover below 400 crore rupees will now have to pay only 25% tax. This covers nearly 99.3% of the companies in India. And payment of these taxes will also get easier. If a person does not have a PAN card, he or she can pay their income tax with the Aadhaar, meaning the two cards are interchangeable for all practical purposes.
More than 120 crore Indians now have Aadhaar card. Therefore, For ease and convenience of taxpayers, I propose to make PAN and Aadhaar interchangeable and allow those who do not have PAN cards to file income tax returns by simply quoting their Aadhaar number, and also use it wherever they are required to quote the PAN. So everywhere where you are required to quote the PAN, instead you can just do Aadhaar, and even if you don't have a PAN, there is no problem.
But the surcharge on individuals with incomes between 2 crore rupees and 5 crore rupees will be raised, meaning the super rich will be taxed more again. Let me tell you the significance of the move. In the 2015 budget, Arun Jaitley abolished the wealth tax. The rationale was simple. It took a lot of money from the government just to collect these taxes. So Jaitley abolished it and replaced it with an additional surcharge. Now Nirmala Sitharaman has increased that surcharge. It is a good decision. After all, those who earn more must contribute more to the overall kitty.
I therefore propose to enhance the surcharge on individuals having taxable income from 2 crore to 5 crores and 5 crore and above, so that effective tax rates for these two categories will increase by around 3% and 7% respectively.
The finance minister used taxation to drive home the importance of affordable housing, but a budget cannot bring down taxes on every commodity. Such an idea is utopian. The finance minister raised the customs duty on gold to 12.5%. This was earlier 10%. Similarly, the cess levied on petrol and diesel has been raised by 1 rupee per litre.
Crude prices have softened from their highs. This gives me room to review excise duty and cess on petrol and diesel. I propose to increase special additional excise duty and road and infrastructure cess, each one by 1 rupee a litre on petrol and diesel.
Now, this may not immediately lead to a hike in fuel prices because the crude prices have softened. This will help the government add more to its coffers without hurting the common man. Meanwhile, customs duty on several raw materials has been reduced. But the one thing that has caught a lot of attention from critics has been the decision to impose a 5% customs duty on imported books. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says that this customs duty will encourage domestic publishing and printing industry. Now, imported books are not sin goods like cigarettes. The rationale does not raise the duty to raise the duty rather on imported books is not very convincing. The other criticism follows from this. It's all good to protect domestic industries, but does this budget then have a protectionist tone? The jury is still out on that one. Criticism apart, on the taxation front, this budget is pragmatic and practical. We spoke to lots of experts through the day today. Most of them call it a balanced budget. Investors, though, seem to be disappointed. Nifty and Sensex both posting sharp losses in today's trade. The Sensex gave away nearly 400 points today. That's a loss of 0.99%, almost a percent. Nifty posted losses to the tune of 1.14%, and the weakness in trade was visible across sectors. Metals, realty, auto, all these stocks suffered because after the budget, in fact, because of the sentiment. The banking stocks, though, were the only ones that gained. So that was the Union Budget for you. But that is a wrap on this edition of India Watch. Thanks very much for joining us.